What's happening, Steeler Nation? Appreciate you guys tuning in, and anyone else who might be tuning in that's not affiliated with Steeler Nation. What's up to you as well? But what's going on, good people? I know some of you guys are expecting to see me here live. This is not a live video. This is a premiere. So it does allow you guys to chat it up with each other, but this is a recording. And the reason why this is a recording and it's not an official Terrible Towel Tuesday, I told many of you guys last week, but for some of you who are unfamiliar with my show or familiar with me and you didn't watch last week, today, Tuesday, May the 30th, I have to do something else outside of Terrible Towel Tuesday. It is my wife and I's anniversary. And yeah, that's just what it is. It's our wedding anniversary. We're going to hang out with each other tonight, go to dinner, and just spend time with each other, man, which I should be doing, right? On the anniversary. So that is the reason why you're not seeing me live. That is the reason why you're unable to call in, even though the phone number is there on the screen, so you guys have that next time. But you know, I did do this early in the day, so I thought I'd just give you something to look at. You know, never be too far away from you guys, if you will. So I only have a couple topics to get into, man. Let me grab my notes here as you see me look away from the camera. Just a few things to talk about, man. Let me get to it. First thing that we will cover, let's talk a little bit about Kevin Dodson. Very interesting, man. We've seen some reports come out, and you know, it's been reported that he basically has said that he kind of has seen the writing on the wall. You know, he's pretty much is quoted as saying, you know, once they sign a guy, it's pretty much a done deal. Who he's referring to is Isaac Seumalo. Hopefully I'm saying his name. Hopefully I'm saying his name correctly, Isaac Seumalo. And we all know the Steelers acquired him in the free agency in the offseason. You know, obviously this guy is somebody who's going to play. And more than likely he's going to play the position that Kevin Dodson currently occupies. Seumalo is more than likely going to be the left guard. You would assume James Daniels is going to remain the right guard. And there you have it. So where does that leave Kevin Dodson? But it's very interesting, man, to see Kevin Dodson pretty much come out and say that. I mean, I guess as a human being, you can say, hey, at least he's keeping it a buck, 100, real, you know, whatever words you want to use. Maybe that's what he's doing, but also the competitive nature in me, man, would love to hear a guy just say, look, man, you know, I'm going to compete for my position. You know, I know so-and-so got paid, but I'm still going to go out there and compete. And actually, me personally, and again, everybody's different. I wouldn't even refer to him being paid. I wouldn't acknowledge that at all. You know, and there's no hate towards Seumalo, but listen, you know, I'm trying to eat too. I'm trying to keep my spot. I'm trying to make moves. So I'm not going to acknowledge what this other man is doing. You know, I still will have confidence in myself and say, look, I'm going to go out there and compete. Now, granted, I did not hear this interview or, you know, the questions being asked to Kevin Dodson. I'm really just going off of, you know, other outlets reporting it and kind of quoting exactly what Kevin Dodson said. So I'm keeping it very surface, and I'm only referring to him saying, you know, once they pay a guy, it's pretty much a done deal. Like I said, my competitive nature and competitive spirit, I don't like hearing him admit that, but I can't knock him for, you know, being able to see the writing on the wall, being able to keep it real. But yeah, I would just like to see a little more fire out of him, and just say, listen, you know, I know they brought in some competition. I think I'm a great player. You know, he's a great player. May the best man win. Something like that. You know, that's just, you know, my personal feelings towards it. Again, no shot at Kevin Dodson, you know, and however he handled that is how he handled that. But, you know, very telling when a player openly can acknowledge, okay, this guy has basically taken my spot and it's pretty much a done deal, set in stone were the words apparently that Kevin Dodson used. So we shall see. It's very interesting, though. It makes me wonder if the Steelers plan to keep Kevin Dodson on the roster in that case. You know, will he be the rotational piece instead of a Kendrick Green? You know, so I still think there's room for Kevin Dodson to make the roster, because again, you know, once you get past those two guards, you still always got to have guys for depth. You know, the Steelers generally want to keep 8, more than likely 9 offensive linemen, so there's still room for more than just two guards on the roster. I was about to say 2 guards. There's room definitely for more than 2 guards on your roster. So it kind of makes me think depending on who's going to cost and how different that cap situation is in terms of salary between him and Green. A lot of people are saying that Green is obviously the odd man out, but we shall see, and I would think so. I would think that even though Kevin Dodson didn't do as good as we all would want him to have done, not only last season, but just since he's been with the Steelers, then maybe he could be on the outs. And then also, it doesn't help last season that Kevin Dodson was highly penalized. If I'm not mistaken, he was the most penalized offensive lineman on the Steelers in the league, I think. So, it just all depends on what the Steelers, where they are with him, how they feel about him. That's really going to be the determining factor on whether or not, Kevin Dodson still has a roster spot or not. So we shall see. Next up, I think what I want to talk about here, guys, is let's talk a little bit about Marcus Golden, the signing of Marcus Golden. And I cannot remember if I talked about this on Tuesday or not, the past Tuesday, because sometimes, man, these weeks and days run together. So if I already talked about it, my apologies. But hey, if I didn't talk about it, well, we're going to talk about it now. And I think still my thoughts and feelings still is suffice, right? Here's a question that I really have, and it's going to lead into the main topic for today. What are the Steelers' plans at inside linebacker? And the reason why I'm mentioning that now, and like I said, I'm going to get to it in a moment, because, you see the Steelers signing more edge rushers, offensive linemen. And I think on last week's show, I think at that time we knew that Golden was visiting. I don't think he had officially signed. So maybe that's what it is. So I think we did kind of talk about it on last week's show. But just to pick back up here, I still have that question. What is the Steelers' real plan for inside linebacker, considering the fact that it seems like they are approaching more of the outside linebacker? We do know that Quan Alexander came in for a visit, which would be more of an inside guy. Haven't heard anything from him, whether, we have not heard him sign anywhere else, nor with the Steelers as of yet, unless something happens between now and by the time you guys are watching this video. It just makes me wonder, they're definitely trying to continue to be strong in all positions, and I really appreciate that. I know some people thought it might have been Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree came in for his visit, didn't pan out. I think he ended up signing elsewhere, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about that, but didn't get Bud Dupree. But they continue to press the issue. So they're showing you right there that they really want a solidified third rotational piece at outside linebacker, edge rusher. Clearly a guy like Nick Herbig, young rookie, you got to see what he has, but, the Steelers weren't going to throw all their eggs in that basket, and have him be the bona fide number 3. I think now the Steelers can sit a little comfortable, which more than likely you would expect it to more than likely be obviously TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, but then you're going to have Golden, and then, Nick Herbig would probably be the 4th spot. Guys like Quincy Roche and all of that, we'll have to see. And whoever else is listed as an edge rusher, we'll have to see. But I would put my money on, obviously, Golden being the number 3, and then you're probably going to take more of a chance with a development piece and a draft pick like Herbig. So that's probably what you're going to see in terms of the top 4, unless the Steelers, for whatever reason, decide to keep 5 edge rushers. It's always up in the air. It's always a question, because the Steelers, obviously, the type of defense they play, generally you're going to see them keep 5 inside backers or 5 outside backers. So a lot of times they usually have a total of like 9. Very rare, and I don't know, I could be off here, but I don't think I recall a season where they had 5 and 5. So the question is always, what position are they going to have more depth? Is it going to be inside or outside, right? So I'm just going off of the scenario of saying maybe they only go with a legit, 4-man rotation or four-man depth, right? 4 spots occupying outside linebacker. I think at the end of the day, again, it's going to be TJ, Highsmith, Marcus Golden now, and then Nick Herbig. So that's just, kind of how I'm looking at it. But like I said, man, the Steelers have continued to, kind of approach the outside linebacker. So obviously they wanted more beef and depth there. So the question remains, and here's my final topic of the day, the main topic. What's going to happen at inside linebacker, right? Because, again, Quan Alexander, we have not heard anything from him. Obviously, they brought him in, so that is an area that I'm sure they're trying to bolster as well. Is there another free agent? And maybe you guys could tell me in the comments, who else at inside linebacker would you like to see the Steelers bring in? They already brought in Cole Holcomb, obviously, and also Landon Roberts. But Holcomb, recovering from a foot injury. So he had surgery, I believe, on his foot. And then we're hearing about Mark Robinson, and that's the highlight of this position right now. The lights are bright. Lights are shining right on him. We heard today, and I don't know if you guys heard already, but they've reported already that he got a pick 6 against Kenny Pickett today in practice. He's running with the ones because of, the injury to Holcomb. Holcomb isn't quite, participating in OTAs as of yet. But, it's Robinson's second year. We know he's kind of raw. We know he was more of a downhill player. I can't speak today for some reason. He's kind of, see it and hit it type of guy. And we'll have to see how he does in coverage. I know that's an area he's going to have to work on. But again, getting those reps early, even though it's only OTAs, I wonder if he's going to be able to make a big enough impact where the Steelers feel like, look, man, I think we're pretty solid here. And we'll have a fourth or fifth behind those guys. We'll see. Guys like Tanner Muse, how much is he being looked at to play defensively? Everyone is pretty much saying he's going to be more of the special teams guy. But it just makes me wonder, man, are the Steelers really going to sit where they are? Because think, Mark Robinson was already on the roster when they went looking at Quan Alexander. So that would be my big question. That would be right now the sole position that I'm curious to see what the Steelers are going to do. Outside of the nickel corner as well, I think the nickel corner is a little more solidified in terms of there's people that you could say who may or may not play that position, even though we're still not 100% sure. I think you can guesstimate that a little more, whether it's, Sullivan, if he makes the squad, whether it's, sliding a guy like KZ in that spot, or, and nickel, sliding Pat Pete over there. I mean, it's a lot of questions, not bona fide answers, but there's a lot of scenarios there that you can see where they could get by versus who we think would be the third man or the next man up at inside linebacker, or who has to start. Let's say for whatever reason, Holcomb has a setback. We got a lot more questions, man, at inside linebacker. So I'm very curious to see what the Steelers will end up doing by the time the season starts. Whether it is a guy like Quan Alexander or there's someone else, like I said, you guys tell me. Is there a free agent out there that you would like to see them bring in as a rotation piece or a potential starter if necessary? I haven't looked at that list, so I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Other than that, man, only other thing I have, and I guess I'll finish with this, man, because it's interesting. It's something that we all could have assumed anyway. How about Le'Veon Bell basically openly admitting that he made a mistake leaving Pittsburgh? And I don't even have to spend a whole lot of time with that again. I think we all made that determination. But, I respect Le'Veon for saying, yeah, man, I probably should have stayed at Pittsburgh. But even more importantly, it's exactly what I predicted. A lot of you guys predicted. Those of us who really know the Steelers organization, which is maybe starting to change a little bit, but for the most part, we always knew that the Steelers didn't pay those big guaranteed bucks to guys who were non-quarterbacks, right? We knew that, especially when Le'Veon was trying to get paid. Remember, TJ is the one who kind of broke the mold, right? And then followed by Minka. These guys are starting to get more money, but remember, when Le'Veon was trying to get paid, it was still the old Steeler way. Guaranteed money is always going to be the question. They were very good with paying out long-term contracts, but that guaranteed money was the way they structured it. They didn't move off of it. Le'Veon Bell said that. He said they wouldn't budge, I wouldn't budge, and that's how we ended up where we were. But he admitted it was a mistake. He should have stayed in Pittsburgh. And I think it would have definitely prolonged his career. I think he would have got better utilization out of it. Because again, the way everything was working in Pittsburgh with him and the line that we had at that time, I think they had really adapted to his style. And I just think it was a good fit. Not even being a selfish Steelers fan, I'm just saying, I think Le'Veon, clearly it showed his best days and his style and all of that complemented the Steelers and vice versa. And that's where he probably should have stayed. So just kind of cool, man, to hear him come out and then admit that, and all of the stuff that we speculated pretty much is what it was. So there you have it. But outside of that, man, that's all I got. Make sure you guys get active in the comments. Definitely don't forget to do that, man. I'm always looking at the comments, and, even if I don't reply to each and every one of them, I see it. So yeah, please definitely do that. Get active there. I'm going to try hitting this button. Sometimes it gets stuck. Let's see if it happens. There you go. So all I need you guys to do for me, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click on that notification bell. How else would you know that there's a video either live or being shown to you as a premiere? All right, but outside of that, man, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. I'm going to definitely have some good quality time tonight with the wifey, again, celebrating our anniversary. So that's why we're not live tonight, but I will be back on with you guys next week. And hey, if anything important breaks this week that we need to talk about, I will do another video like this. Or if there's something really important to talk about, maybe I'll do a quick live stream. But outside of that, make sure you guys have a great, lovely week. Stay safe out there. God bless. And like always, man, thank you for tuning in to the pre-recorded Terrible Towel Tuesday. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.